Today's going to be a twofer, if not a threefer. We're going to try out this Rollei 35 camera, which I just picked up. And in it, we're going to try Ribsy's new classic easy 400 speed film. And what better subject for this classic film than a classic car show? But first, we've got to get the film into the Rollei camera. Let's do that. This Rollei camera, made in Germany, opens very simply. We turn this lever here on the bottom, and then the whole bottom compartment slides off. I do want to let you know this is the first time I've ever loaded film into this camera. So let's open up this new classic film by Ribsy, which is a 400 speed black and white film that feeds into this Rollei camera. It goes beneath this take up here, fits in, I hope, just like this, comes around, and then it's going to go into slots here. And notice this is a counter wind mechanism, so it does wind the film backwards of how it was wound in that spool. So let's fold this plate down that holds the film secure and put the back on the camera. Just like this, it slides up and on, and then this lever turns and locks it. Now we've got to advance to the first frame, so that's going to be 3 shots. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And hopefully our counter says 1 right there. So we're ready to take that first exposure on this camera. So this is an ISO 400 film. So we're going to want to set our what used to be known as ASA dial here to 400. But for the light meter I'm playing with, I have a little stronger battery in here than what was originally manufactured. The batteries that were supposed to be in this camera are no longer available because they had mercury in them. So this is I believe a silver oxide cell. I'm not sure what it is, but it's 1.5 volts instead of the 1.35 volts, which is going to make the light meter read a little hot. So we're going to put this down to ISO or ASA 320 should be about right, or even a little more. Let's talk about the ASA or the ISO ratings of film a little bit. It's not an etched in stone number that exists. It's more of a guideline of where to get the minimum threshold exposure so that you have some type of shadow detail. Most films, ASA or ISO, is rated on that threshold speed, right at that borderline where if you shoot it any faster, any less exposure, your shadows are gone. You don't have any shadow detail. So most film can handle overexposure of 1 or even 2 f-stops. Now that's equivalent of an ISO 400 film. 1 f-stop makes it 200, and 2 f-stops would make it 100 speed. So shooting this film at 200 is simply overexposing it by 1 stop. But is it really? What's happening is you're getting a little more detail in those shadows. But as long as you don't overexpose it so much as to block up the highlights, we're still there. What's actually happening is we're preserving shadow detail. I guess what I'm saying is that ISO of film is more of a sliding scale than an absolute. So if I'm in a very high contrast situation, bright sunlight pounding down on my subject, I'm going to want to look at what's important. Is it important to me to preserve those highlights, or is it important for me to preserve those shadows? And therefore, I'm going to close the aperture or open that aperture just a little bit. This Rollei 35 was made in Germany, and this is the first incarnation of it. And it has the Tessar lens, Carl Zeiss Tessar lens on it in a 40 millimeter. Maximum aperture of 3.5, as it says right here. And they're a very compact camera. In effect, by pressing this little button here, the lens, it twists and drops in, and that's how this is carried. It's a very compact camera, but very solid, very heavy. And again, this will be the first roll of film that I've shot through this camera. I also wanted to let you know, this is the second video that I've shot in my new studio, my new office, in our new digs. As you may know, Michelle and I have sold our home. We are transitioning from a sticks and bricks style of living on a street in a town to total mobile living. So this is about a 2-year transition for us, and we're going to end up being totally mobile, towing a camper trailer and traveling the U.S. for the next few years. So be sure to hang around to see those adventures. We are actually going to be starting a second channel very soon that'll be focused more on the travel aspect and the RV living aspect. Vintage Insight Photography, this channel will still continue to exist because as we travel, we're going to hit all the various highlights across the United States and do landscape photography, some cityscape photography, some street photography, and other types of things going on. We're going to experience the entire United States, or as much of the United States as we can, as long as our health endures and our tires last. Now that we've got our film loaded in this camera, let's go hit the road.
Holy smokes, it's like 8 million people are here to see this car show. I had hoped to do triple duty today. We're going to try out that classic 400 film from Ribsy, plus that Rollei 35, and see some classic cars, but holy smokes, there's a lot of people here. I gotta confess right here, I am not a grease and oil guy. I really don't know much about cars at all. So I just know I like the way they look. See this here? The SS. Did you ever hear about the snail that decided he wanted a car? And he went to the manufacturer and he said, I want S's all over it. And they said, why do you want S's all over your race car? He says, because when they see it go zipping through town, they're going to say, look at that Escargot. Cougar, the different kind. One thing about this Rollei 35 is that when you look through the viewfinder, you don't see any type of focusing assistance at all. It's just a viewfinder that you look through. So it has a total zone focus system. So you simply have to line up how many feet away you are from the subject to focus the camera. See the original owner? Would you want an interview? Like, I'll talk to you on video.
Oh.
That is amazing.
You mean that or this?
That?
Oh.
What you're on. I see people ride these things called one wheels, and they're like a skateboard that's electrified.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a grown-up version.
Yeah, it is.
For a real man.
Yeah, from real guys.
That's right. I love it.
Thank you.
So what did I think about this new classic 400 film by Ribsy? I liked it. It developed easy, it shot easy, and seemed to work really well. As long as my exposure was correct, I had really nice latitude in the film. Ribsy himself has said that this is a relabeled film that's out there.
This film right here is made by a local European manufacturer, so this isn't something extremely brand new, but we're packaging this film in a very eco-friendly way.
Most people believe it's FilmPhotography 400. I tend to agree. I developed this new classic film in HC110 Developer using all of the data as if it was FilmPhotography 400 film. The grain structure was very nice, image detail was excellent, and when paired with this Rollei 35 camera, I really liked the combination. Plus, combined with those classic cars, it was excellent. This Rollei 35 was a blast to shoot. It's so small, it's so compact, and so easy to work with. Very nice, absolutely foolproof. You can't take an exposure with this camera unless you've got that lens extended and the film is advanced. I was truly impressed with the sharpness of these images. Please remember to give this video a like and hit that subscription button down below. Those likes really help out the algorithm and help me keep making videos like this to present to you. Rather than relying on this camera's meter to do the exposures, I relied on the Sunny 16 rule. And if you want to know more about that Sunny 16 rule, click this video right here. This is Vintage Insight Photography. I'm James Fisher, reminding you to stay focused.